If you're buying any cards from TCG Player, please use the link in the description to help support my content. This video is sponsored by Pokemon Store, TCG Player, PokemonCard.io, and Card Market. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video here at Tailmon. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the Japanese tournament that took place. They are having events in real life. I'm very jealous of that. They are having events over there, which is pretty cool to see. And there was a very long stream the other day showcasing the tournament, and Ice Rider with Suicune ended up winning. Yeah, this is the winning list by the champion. As you can see, he really likes his bling, his alternate arts, though no shiny drizzles is peculiar, right? But everything else is, I believe, fully blinked out, or as much as you can, right? Obviously these energies, they could be golden, but they're not, right? We can give him a pass on that. But yeah, pretty cool looking deck list. And obviously the format in Japan is different from the current format that we have. They are not playing Sword and Shield onwards. As you can see by that Marshadow, there's a couple of reset stamps and Pokemon communications. Most of the deck is similar to ours, Sword and Shield metagame, but it's not fully, or they do have a few other options, and then they still have to compete with tag teams such as ADP or Ikori GX is available and makes Rapid Strike Malamar really powerful. Rapid Strike Malamar was actually the opponent of the finals of this player, and I would like to say that if you've been a fan of my videos, or if you've paid attention to my videos, and when I'm talking about the Intel line, I've been a big advocate of the 4-4-2-2 split. And what do we have? The biggest Japanese tournament being won by the 4-4-2-2 list. So there are some cards that are not very easily seen. So I'm going to go ahead and this is the list right on PTCGO and take a look at it a little bit more carefully. But Suicune V, our main attacker, or I guess one of the main attackers, the ability Fleet-Footed, we get an extra card if it's active, never a bad thing. And then Blizzard Rondo does 20 damage plus 20 more damage for each benched Pokemon, both yours and your opponent. So we benefit from having a big bench through Inteleon, through having access to Inteleon and our Ice Rider Calyrex. So obviously we'll be doing at the very least 120 damage each time, which is not a lot of an attack at the moment, but most decks are either playing like Handom for support, Inteleon lineup for support. It's really hard for decks right now to control their bench space. So you can expect Blizzard Rondo to 2-hit KO most VMAXs, which is really good because you are not a VMAX, right? Now, outside of that, we have the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. Another water type attacker, provides more HP at 320 and has two other attacks right off the High King, which does 10 damage plus 30 more for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So continuing with the bench Pokemon theme, but Max Lance does allow you to do 10 damage plus 120 more for each energy you choose to discard from Ice Rider. So up to 250 damage. They complement each other well because they have different weaknesses. They're both water type Pokemon, but Ice Rider is ice type, therefore weak to metal, and Suicune V is water type and therefore weak to lightning. So both of these Pokemon are the main attackers, and then you have our supporting cast of Drizzle with the Shady Dealings ability, allowing us to search for a trainer card and putting it into our hand. That allows us to search for energy, right, with a Capacious Bucket. It allows us to search for any Pokemon basically between Quick Ball, Pokemon Communication, Level Ball, and Incense, and we can also search for disruption cards such as Reset Stamp, such as Path to a Peak, Marnie, and our setup cards, which are Melanie, allowing us to attach a water energy card from a discard pile to one of our Pokemon B, and if we do, we draw 3 cards. And Raihan, where if a Pokemon was knocked out during our opponent's last turn, one of our Pokemon was knocked out, then we get to attach a basic energy from the discard pile to one of our Pokemon, and we can search for any card. Very nice combination of cards to power up. That is going to be the main way we can recover from KOs or recover energy after we have used Max Lance back to back, right? That allows us to use Max Lance back to back if we maximize the damage by discarding all the energies. And of course we can search for boss's orders as well with Shady Dealings or basically anything, right? That's the beauty of Shady Dealings. That's why Inteleon is one of the best sources and one of the best consistency lines in the game right now. Now on top of this, we have the 2 Shady Dealings Inteleon, as I was talking about earlier, this 4-4-2-2 split. I really like because usually the bonus damage is nice, but it's not that impactful, or usually like you can count on 1 or 2 quick shootings to help you, but having access to more shade dealings, more trainers, and sometimes 2 trainers at a time can be really, really impactful, especially in this deck where you could possibly like grab Reset Stamp plus Pass to a Peak, right? That could be a good option, or your Melanie plus Reset Stamp, or your Boss's Orders plus Reset Stamp. Whatever combination you might need, finding any 2 cards is just fantastic, right? And then of course we do have the quick shooting. The 2 damage counters can sometimes make a difference, so it is important to keep that in mind. And by knowing that you have 2/2, you can more freely discard the shady dealings early on without fear of dead drawing. But you also know, like, you have access to only 2 Inteleons with quick shooting, so you can make sure to determine whether that damage output will be important for you or not throughout the course of a game. And then finally we have Crobat V for support with the Dark Acid ability, and we have Resetting Hold Marshadow to remove potential chaotic swells, stopping Path to a Peak, or to remove Path to a Peak ourselves so that we can Crobat, right? So a nice versatile card. I think this is the most questionable card out of the whole list, but this is the champion list, so who am I to question it, right? I think if I were going to cut something, it would be Marshadow, but we're gonna talk about the cuts now to make this deck Sword and Shield onwards. Now this deck has been doing well in the online cups. It has been doing pretty well. Usually the more popular version is Suicune with Ludicolo. That seems a little more fancy, right? It's more interesting with the 2 stage 2 lines, and you get the bonus damage and whatnot. But realistically, Ice Rider is a very, very solid pairing for Suicune, and in order to make this deck current rotation or current standard, we do have to remove the Marshadow, the 2 Pokecoms, the 2 Reset Stamps, and I believe that's it, right? Yeah, pretty sure that's it. So 5 cards go away. The Marshadow, right, is a way to counter Stadium, so technically you could add Pumpkaboo, but that doesn't seem great. And there's no Chaotic Swell to battle against. So honestly, I think you can easily play replace Marshadow for the 3rd Path to a Peak. You are shutting off your Fleet-Footed and your Crobat, but you could easily switch that out for something else. Now, the 2 Pokecoms I think are immediately gonna be replaced into making them 2 Evolution Instances. Actually, 1 Evolution Instance and 1 Level Ball, since Level can find Sobble and Drizzle, and we only played 2 Ice Riders, so I think this split seems alright. I do want... So we took out 2 Reset Stamps. I feel like adding another Marnie could be a good way to continue with the disruption that they offered. And then we have 1 final flex spot, could easily be a Capture Energy, could easily be a 9th Energy, could easily be a Cape of Toughness or a Nerballoon. But given the current standard, I actually think Tool Scrapper would be the card of choice, right? Tool Scrapper can be very good right now in standard format to remove Cape of Toughnesses, to remove Tool Jammer perhaps from a Leafeon, to remove the Elemental Badge from Jolteon. So I do think having access to 1 Tool Scrapper is potentially very, very important. And I'm missing a Fan of Waves actually. The original list had a Fan of Waves, so I clearly made a mistake. So okay, instead of the Path to a Peak, we will definitely keep and have access to the Fan of Waves. So pardon me for that. I had a mistake in the original list. I don't know exactly where. But yeah, this would be how I would play the deck moving forward. I would definitely encourage you to give it a try. This is still pretty good and pretty relevant for current standard format. So if you're looking to try out this deck and you like water Pokemon, this is definitely the deck for you. And I think this is one of the best decks right now that can help sort of combat the weakness disadvantage that we're currently in. Like if you face off against your weakness, you're in a lot of trouble. But at least this deck has Suicune to try and play around against Zacian decks and some Zinta decks, and you have Ice Rider to play around Jolteon decks. So you do have that sort of, or that little bit of variety in this. So yeah, thanks so much for checking this out. We'll put up the thing. You can see the Fan of Waves right there. So this is the list. I think I had a second scoop of net already. So I definitely would not have I definitely had the wrong list. Initially, I forgot to change one Scoop Up Net for Fan of Waves. But yeah, there you have it. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll try to bring more coverage about other interesting decks. The issue is that obviously there's a ton of cards that we don't have yet, like Fusion Strike Mew, and there's a ton of cards that we don't have or that we can't play with anymore, such as Reset Stamp, Marshadow, all the tag teams, etc. Thanks so much. Don't forget to leave a like, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.